Hi everyone. Just recording the daily update for SOL, BTC, total market cap. Today's a prime day, so there's not really a lot to talk about when it comes to closing timeframes. All we actually have today is the 1 day, so we don't have any weekly closes, we don't have any multi-day closes, no multi-weeks, nothing, no monthlies. Although we are getting kind of close to the monthly, so they might be trying to move the price somewhere in relation to how to close the month, but I guess we'll look at that tomorrow or a bit later on. As far as liquidity goes, we've had FOMC. There wasn't really any major thing happen around FOMC. I mean, the price just was going down, and it was going down anyway from the resistances that it struck and the moves that started in the last couple of days. As far as, are we going to see more downside? We probably are. I think there's still some stuff in play which should definitely go see those 150s before any kind of major spin around could happen. But price never moves in a straight line, so ultimately it travels to grab liquidity and shift it somewhere else, and grab what's there and so on. So looking at BTC, it's a little bit more shorts on both BTC and SOL in the 1 day have opened up. If we start to look at the 7 day, you can see definitely more shorts, less longs, and a lot of that is obviously because the longs now on SOL, particularly a lot of those longs have been taken just recently by the dip. But as you can see, BTC is still pretty even. It's obviously a lot of people that are still really bullish, and some people obviously starting to come across to the dark side of shorting it. And then when we look at the 30 day, 30 day is the one that really says that we've got a bit of a gap here, because these positions have all been wiped out recently. But you've got that liquidity all the way down there to that 152, 153 area, and maybe even 150. I'll show you something in a sec about that. But so it's all there. It's ready to be taken. If it was to go down there, that'd be a great place for them to load up heavily before a push up into the longs and sell it off and make some money. And you can still see all the way down to sort of around that 110. I mean, maybe lower, but still got the expectation we should see 110 before that next big push up, at least to 110. So that liquidity is all there to be taken. Just need a reason. This is the 23D, which I uploaded a video about, and you can see we generated. So that was the point of creation of structure. So that's where we had everything we needed to move a trend, create a move. That's the touch of the trend, and then obviously we've come down, and that's us hitting the trend down here. So this is the first point of support. A trend can reverse to a trend, or it can reverse to a break. But I just don't know whether or not they would really want to let the trapped longs out. So therefore, we're still expecting it to come down here to 165. And this is not one of the biggest moves that's in play at the moment. So there's things that come down lower than this. As far as how the day goes, we might end up closing here under the break level. And if that's the case, there might be a little bit of a move between the trend and the break, but effectively what's going to happen if we do close under that break level is this break level is going to try to break that trend, and then it's going to try to retest the older backside break here, which has never had a proper retest since it was broken, and at which point we might start to see some kind of bounce back up to take out some of the shorts that have chased. And if that doesn't bounce, it's really because they just do not want to release those trapped longs. And we could then, if we spend one more day, or if we probably actually it'd have to be 2 candles based on this current state. So you'd have to have something that gets you below that trend, and then another one to hard close it. In which case you can then start heading down to here, which is in the 140s, actually the high 140s, but there is liquidity down there. It's been down there for a while. I think people have kind of forgotten about it. They've forgotten about things like the 3-day targets that are actually sitting down there. But definitely could happen. SOL BTC, as you can see, did a really nice retest of the trend that moved. So when the weekly closed, that trend went from there up to there. It did a nice retest. It gave that little bit of strength, a little push that we've just seen, but it appears to be dying off now. It has retested the hard close break level here, but there's 4 days to go on the weekly, so you probably expect that actually that somewhere in the next 4 days we're going to see that strength come back into SOL. But for now, it can keep diving down if it wants to. Come down here, hit the hold level, and that would sort of line up with everything else that's going on. Dominance of stables and BTC, it's still bouncing. So it's bounced off the range down here and it's created this uptrend. It hasn't lost that uptrend yet, so it's still moving up. So that's, again, risk assets are going to struggle while that's heading in that direction. So it got with that trend that got created on the daily. Yeah, it's holding it for now. And then we've got things like the 15D moves which are in place. So these are hold level rejections. So that was the rejection up here, and the first sort of target for that is the trend here. It's currently around 160. Second target's down here at 150. So that's just another time frame that's in play. The thing with this time frame here is we've rejected the hold, we've moved the trend, we haven't actually hit the trend yet. So that was the time at which the trend shifted, and it was the time at which the price closed under the break. So we could get that little rally back up to here to sort of that 187, 186. That could happen on the daily time frame today, maybe tomorrow. But it would most likely reject. I mean, even if it pushed up to here, again, it would most likely reject. And really, we need to come down and we need to touch that trend. There's not really anything else I can find that's going to stop that before it gets there. It may bounce around, like like this as an example. That was the actual point of rejection. We came down to here. We bounced all the way back up to here. It's just basically how price works. It's never just a singular straight drop. So down, bounce, came up here, took out the liquidity of the people who had all their stops sitting above these highs here, thinking that was a safe place. We took that and then we brought it down. This wick here might actually be this. So what was up here taken from those highs might have actually just been what was deposited here, in which case you might then see a push back up to here to grab some of the shorts from just above here and then come back down here to sell it lower. So still could see that move up. The only, probably repeating myself, but the only thing I sort of see is that it might actually let people out of their trap longs, and they're probably not going to want to do that if they want to liquidate more people. And I don't know why I had that chart there. So what do we got there? That's the 30-day. So this is a move where structure was created here. This is probably going to find support somewhere in the 150s, and then it's going to bring it back up to the trend. So once we get to these lower levels, we've then got moves to bring the price back up. Just like we've rejected the 15-day and it's coming down to trend, we'll find support in some of these, and then they'll take us back up. So I think, given it's a prime day and there's no real structural significance outside of a one-day close today, it's the perfect day to go on a liquidity hunt. They basically have 48 hours because it won't be until tomorrow that you actually start to see some structural closes again on the higher time frames. So they can wick down, grab liquidity, shoot up, take out shorts. They can pretty much just do what they want. They're crazy days, these types of days where no real implications to what they do. So why not have some fun and liquidate some markets? And yeah, that. What do we got there? We got a level at about 168, which could provide a bit of support and maybe bring us back up to this trend. So these are sort of the structural moves I'm looking at that might actually give us that sweep of the late shorts. Because you just want something that can push it back up to about that 186, 189 mark. Because they were really trying to make 182 look like a real strong, solid level. So yesterday, so I think there'd be a lot of shorts sitting above 182, which stop losses, etc. So not necessarily always liquidation. Sometimes it's about where could stop losses be. So yeah, we might dip down here and then come back up here. Certainly, I'll be looking to add to positions at these levels and take TPs when we run into these trends, especially for their first touch. So, and then the hopium is the really big stuff. So we can come down here, we can hit the reverse side of that trend, and then we can target those all-time highs, which it's coming. It's just like I've said, they just don't really want you to come along for the ride. So you've just got to be smart about it. And over on BTC, 1 day, 3 hours. So this is not today's close, but 1 day, 3 hours, and we potentially lose that support trend. In which case, down. So the trend itself would move initially. So we'll talk more about this on a video tomorrow, I guess. But that's got to work on the bottom of it now. If at that close in 1 day and 3 hours they flat bottom that thing, then what that means is that they don't even really need to flat bottom it because of the angle. But if they get it down here so that it opens on the wrong side of the trend, that's when it's just going to basically have a bit of a free fall, really come down. So for now, that was the trend. Move to there, and it's looking to be lost. And then over here, if we start to look at the higher time frame stuff, we got supports. So if BTC gets under this 110 mark and maybe hits 106 or anything like dives these trends, then there's just a buying opportunity. And we're here. We've got to come down and retest this. So nothing's really changed. Total market cap. You can see we're sort of just sandwiched in between these two trends here. Absolute indecision. But in 2 hours, that's going to open on the wrong side of those. So the next candle is the one that has the ability to take a fall. And that break level up there was what we ran into, which created the resistance. There was actually a 5 day, so we had this. So we had this 5 day hold here, and if you put a bib tool on it like that, when we entered this 5 day hold, the price went up to the target there. So that was kind of what gave us that little bit of a rally, albeit really, really small. Sort of see, put that in there. See how. So structural creation was on this blue line here, and then we entered, went up there, ran into that trend. We actually didn't get to the top there. We got stopped by that trend. So bounce on the hold, up to the trend, demolished. So but it was good while it lasted. That little bounce through there. Moment, that's basically just in an indecision state, looking to open in a space that's not really ideal. Just because you open on the wrong side of a trend doesn't mean you dump, but the confluence is there with everything else. We already, maybe that screen. Let's try something. Sorry guys, I think that might have that frozen. Too many tabs open. Might just check that again, see if we did hit that upper level. Did we get stopped by that trend? Let's see. We want the 5-day. Here's our point of creation. Let's have a look on the 1 hour. Oh yeah, it got stopped by that trend. So that's still going to want to try and get up there. Whether it can is another question. I mean, it may, that sweep of those lows might have been to pick up what it needs to push up through that trend and sell it off into the target there, maybe. So yeah, that's just roughly. I thought I'd just show that to everyone as well. So people talk about SMC or smart money concepts. So when you've got days like this where they're out to grab liquidity, you've sort of got to think, if they've taken all that liquidity there, which is a sweep of all the stop losses and liquidation levels that were sort of based on people thinking that this is a strong low, so the price went up, came down, hit there, started going up. There would have been a lot of positions under there. So if they've swept into that, the question is, what do they do with that money? And this was a sort of an area that yesterday they made that 182 look so strong. It sort of makes sense that if you're going to do a short-term move, you'd sweep the liquidity here and you'd come up here and you'd sell it into all the stops that are sitting up here. So it's just something else I'm thinking. If we start to see this ranging to the upside, I'd probably look to TP some longs, etc., into there. It's the most logical place that they would go and deposit what they've taken from here. So that's pretty much it for today. Summary of it is we are probably still going to go down further. Key areas around 168, 165, looking for bounces when we get to those from a higher time frame perspective. Lower time frame, maybe we do go push back up a little bit based on some of these liquidations that have just happened. They might try to move that liquidity to the upside before they go down. But it is also very possible, given it's a prime day, about a 48-hour window for them to do whatever the heck they want without really creating a lot of structural implications. So we might just go on a liquidity dive and just keep on max painting those longs until they're all wiped out. So trade safely, take the week off if you're unsure, and yeah, we'll catch you again tomorrow.